Hello everyone, I am Rachel with Adventurous Heart, and today's adventure takes me to Grandfather Mountain in North Carolina. I was traveling up from the beach at Folly Beach in South Carolina on the way back home to Ohio and remembered this place from my childhood. So I want to share this beautiful place of Grandfather Mountain with you. I had been to Grandfather Mountain when I was a lot younger, and we didn't get as far as I wanted. So on my way back, I decided to check it out one more time and follow the adventure in my heart from my childhood. I'm out on the Grandfather Mountain Trail, marked with a blue blaze. If you've watched my other videos in Ohio, that means the Buckeye Trail. But here it is, the Grandfather Trail. And yes, this is the trail. So it is rocky, it is strenuous. So be prepared. I kind of can't believe my family actually took me here when I was pretty young, because this isn't the type of hiking we would typically do as far as how strenuous it was. But I'm so thankful to have done it as a kid, because that has brought me back here today. It is a very foggy and windy day. You can see that cloud rolling in. So the views aren't great, but it is still awesome. Here we have Grandfather's Gap. And you can see that by people going in other places, it changes the ecosystem. So make sure, just like any trail, you stay on the marked trails. And the trails are really well marked out here. So grab a map before you head out. Look at the trail post signs. It tells you 0.5 miles, 1 mile. There is a user fee when you come in. It's $22 to get in, but you get a hike as well as see some really cool scenery and animals. So I'm gonna follow the Grandfather Trail over to the right. The trail sign at the beginning warns you how strenuous this trail is. When you get out here, you really see there are cables to help you get up how steep this is. And it's always harder to tell when you're filming, but this is level. That's how steep it is. We'll get to some more fun ladders in a little bit. And here are the ladders for those seeking high adventure, which makes it a lot more fun, or can be kind of concerning and weary for those maybe a little nervous for heights. So if this looks like something up your alley, definitely come check out the trail at Grandfather Mountain. From that ladder, you go kind of sideways through these two rocks, and you have another ladder. So yes, it is steep, but I'm thankful that those ladders are there to make it a little bit easier. So here we go, on up the ladders. Yay! And from the ladders, more cables to help guide you along the way. Yes, this is a steep, strenuous, rocky hike. So definitely recommend people who have hiking experience come out here. Don't make this your first one, but it could definitely be something that you work up to as you go. When we go to places like Grandfather Mountain and wherever else the adventures in our heart lead us, we always picture these beautiful sunny days where we can see all of the views. However, you can see today it is cloudy, but the cool thing is to change perspective. Look at it from a different angle and see what you see. If I could see all of the views and there weren't these clouds, I might not see this really cool rock structure here. So what do you think? Is it a face? A guy with a really large nose? Is it an airplane? Is it a bird beak? Let your imagination have fun and explore all of the things that your eyes aren't able to focus on because it is a whiteout. You're in a cloud, and marvel in the fact that on the ground you can experience what it's like to fly, to go through a cloud. So again, this trail is for people who have hiked before. It is very steep. If you're afraid of heights, maybe not the best for you. You can see we came from down there. There's actually another ladder below that. You come up all of these. You can see there's a ledge here. That ledge attaches to a cable. And then there's another flight here. So all of that to say, when you are going up this, remember a couple things. you also have to come down it. So don't go past your ability and your comfort to then be able to come down it. I was following some people and like, oh my goodness, my legs are shaking. That happens, it's part of it. Take a deep breath. Think strong, happy, good thoughts, and don't go beyond your skill level. And always remember, you want 3 points of contact, 2 hands and a foot, always. So 3 points of contact, move 1 at a time, and don't go beyond your skills. But if you feel comfortable, come up here. Again, it's not those views that you expect, that I expected when I was here as a child, but it allows really cool ones. Like, I probably wouldn't notice these evergreen trees that are there. I wouldn't have noticed all of these details if the clouds weren't there to block out all of the other ones. So for that, I am thankful. So you can see it's a windy, cloudy day, as I said, but again, that yields to some really cool things. I came up off this trail, I was like, whoa, is that the trail? Nope, but it's kind of a cool shot since it's just clouds. Of course, the trail turns and meanders this way. So as I continue down Grandfather Mountain, a couple things I want you to keep in mind. 1, find a cool adventure that is in your backyard. The Buckeye Trail's in mine. You've seen other videos where I explore those blue blazes in my backyard. For some of you, Grandfather Mountain's in your backyard. If you're in the Northeast United States, check out Maine, specifically the precipice if you like the steep kind of ladder stuff. It's a pretty strenuous, fun one over by Bar Harbor. Mount Katahdin, of course, in Baxter State Park, the end of the Appalachian Trail, has similar things to this. But wherever you are in the United States, outside of it, find a cool place to hike and discover in your backyard. And if hiking isn't something you enjoy, find something you do and just discover. It's really cool to see the cloud just coming up around this rock. So much to discover, no matter what the weather conditions are. Forgot to mention, if you're in Utah and you like something that's challenging like this, Angel's Landing will give you a really, really good hike. Again, if you're worried about heights, probably not the best for you. Always think about what your comfort and skill level is, and don't go beyond that. Start out small. Start with a local hike on roads or trails in your backyard. Work your way up to this, if that's something you want to do. I just passed a couple people and they're like, do we have to come back this way? That was scary. So again, make sure you're up for the challenges that you accept. If you accept them and they're harder than that you thought, no shame in turning around and heading back. Never go beyond your abilities, but seek the adventures in your heart. So I'm going to show you how to get down from McCree. Yeah. I must say, this part reminds me a little bit of Half Dome. Cables, ladders, and rock. So this is coming down from Calloway Peak. Probably the scariest ladder, just because there's no rock directly behind it. But a super cool peak to look at. As I mentioned, it's marked really well, so if we take this route, it's actually the route we'll take back. It'll make a loop and then connect with the beginning. But I'm going to go ahead and continue in that 1 mile marker. I'm going to continue to Calloway Peak. On we go. Yes, this is the trail. Yes, that's me breathing heavy. So a pleasant surprise just past the intersection of McCree is attic window where you can go camping. It's a nice little platform, obviously for one group. You can definitely feel the wind up here, but a beautiful campsite if you want to try it. The cloud cover this morning makes this view that is opening up just beneath me all the more impressive. Be patient, work up to what you're able to accomplish, and enjoy the rewards. A good tip for you anytime you're hiking is always look for the blazes or the trail markers that are out there. So you can see that one. As I walked around, it looked like the trail went this way, but I used a couple clues to evaluate that it probably wasn't. A, the trail doesn't look very worn, and B, there's no markers. So I turned this way. Well, this kind of looks like a trail based on what we've been doing, but it's hard to say. So I looked around a little bit, and as I looked around, I saw, ding, 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 a blue blaze. So look around, scout it out. If you're not sure, go a little distance, see if you see a marker. If you don't, go ahead and turn around and try another direction just down there, which I can't get to right now because I can't film and climb. You want 3 points of contact. There's another blue marker down there to confirm it. I will say, after all of the strenuous rocks and ladders, once you get past the attic campsite, it looks a little bit more like this. It's wooded section. There's a couple more campsites spread out. So I would say if you're coming up from the state park side, it's going to be a little bit easier. We're at 2.0 miles, which means Calloway should be in 0.4. So here we go to Calloway Peak. For today's hike, we started at the swinging bridge, came up, followed the Grandfather Trail, which is the blue one, went to McRae Peak, continued up here to the campsite, Indian House Cave, a couple other, continue. We are right here and almost getting ready to go to Calloway Peak. We'll get there, turn around, do the same thing, take the Underwood Trail to see a little bit different view, and then back to the car. Swinging Bridge is a highlight of Grandfather Mountain, so make sure you check that out as well. This morning it was pretty cloudy. Maybe when I get back it'll be clear skies. You can see there are 3 trails: the Profile Trail, the Daniel Boone Scout Trail, and Grandfather Trail that all go up. The Grandfather Trail, you need to pay that $22 to get in, but you also get to see the mile-high bridge and be able to park there. Looking at the profile elevation, you can see where we started was 5,250 feet, and the high peak of Calloway is around 5,900 feet. So a difference of, 650 feet. But the biggest thing is to get to McRae Peak, where for 0.4 miles, 0.5 to 0.9, 0.4 miles, that elevation was about 5,300 to about 5,825. So you're looking at 525 feet elevation change in 0.4 miles. So pretty steep, which is why they have the ladders and all of those. But definitely looking at the elevation profile can help you understand the dynamics of what your hike looks like, as well as looking at the contour lines on the map. This particular one doesn't have it, but if you ask at Grandfather Trail when you come in, they will give you a map of the area. You do have to ask for it though, because when you pay and they give you a brochure, they're just giving you one of Grandfather Mountain and all the cool things you can do there, the nature museum, see the animals, the mile-high bridge, but they are not necessarily giving you that hiking map. So do ask for that before you hit the trail to make sure you stay nice and safe out here. Here at the elevation profile, I am in the gap, so it's going to be uphill 4.4 miles to Calloway Peak. So important to know where you are on the map and how that relates to the elevation on the profile. I know the first time someone told me about an elevation profile, they told me to draw it and I had no clue what they were talking about. Once they explained it, it made sense. So that concept is new to you. The big thing is to look at the miles you're at, the location you're on, and figure out what the elevation change is, up or down, because that will add more time. If you're going straight, it's going to be easier for you to hike. But if you're going up like this or down a lot, you should plan to add about an additional hour for every 1,000 foot of elevation change. Again, up or down. So based on the profile, we came 0.3 from Calloway Gap, and now we are headed 0.1 all the way to the peak. It'll probably be a limited view, but we're almost to the peak. And how cool is that? All right, guys, we just made it up to Calloway Peak. And how do you know you reached the peak? Because X marks the spot. So here we are. Enjoy the view, or lack of view, but still beautiful all the same. Every once in a while it clears up. You can see what it looks like. But super cool to make it to Calloway Peak. Just down from Calloway Peak is Watauga View. It's about 100 feet off the trail, and based on the direction of the wind, the view is a lot better on this side of the mountain. I think it is really cool when you look out and you have clouds to be able to see those big black splotches, which are the shadows of the clouds. So really cool hike to be able to go out and explore, and to remember that when you're hiking, it's all about the journey. I know a lot of times in life, and myself included, sometimes we get all caught up and we have to make it to the top. We have to make it to the top. And as you can see at Calloway, the top's cool, but it's not awesome. If you were hoping for this grandiose view or this like, hey, you're here kind of thing, that's not what Calloway is all about. Calloway Gap, Calloway Peak is really about coming and embracing the journey. The view at the top is cool, but the journey is so worth it, especially on the Grandfather Mountain Trail, because the journey with the ladders and the cables and the terrain and the rocks, it's about the journey. So let that kind of lead you in other parts of your life as well. I know I'm always focused on the end goal a lot, and I have to focus and try to step back and think about what is the journey that gets me there, and how empowering is that. So hopefully on your travels, as you follow the adventures in your heart, you can really start to think about your journey and what it takes to be able to get there, and to really enjoy the journey along the way. Those who are patient will seek great rewards. The clouds and the fog have gone away. You can see a beautiful view. Be patient and adjust your human expectations, and marvel at the beauty. And now I definitely still look at the rock faces, but I think you can agree they kind of get lost in the vastness of the area when the clouds are gone. So I'm so thankful to have been able to experience it in both ways. Look at this really cool creature. It's always important to slow down, stop, look around, and take in the beauty that nature has to offer. As you're hiking back, you'll see a sign for Indian House Cave. Kind of a cool place to be able to check out. It's not too far off the trail, so I'd recommend taking a little stop to coming down and seeing it. It's a huge overhanging rock. Here's the fun rock scurry that I took earlier to get up here. I actually saw someone going down and thought he was off trail. Nope, that's the trail. It's the hardest part, right before attic window campsite. We have that split again. So that is the way we came, with all of the ladders and cables, and to McCree Peak. Now we're going to take Underwood Trail back to the swinging bridge. I'm told this is the easier way without ladders, so I'll let you know in case you're here. That way you can make a decision based on how you're feeling that day. definitely ladders on the Underwood Trail. In fact, this is probably the longest one I've seen on the entire trail. So have fun with ladders on this one. Embrace it. From longest ladder to huge rock structure, Underwood Trail looks pretty cool. The Underwood Trail just had one ladder. It was a really long one, so if you're a little intimidated, maybe take that route. But I showed you this one earlier, and we looked at the face and we're trying to figure out what it was. That's what it looked like in the clouds, and this is what it looks like on a clear sky day. I'm almost back to where we started, the Mile High Bridge. And a couple things to keep in mind is there's lots of diversity in the ecosystem here. Lots of rhododendron, all kinds of cool things. So depending on the season, you're going to see something different. Do make sure that you register before you come out. It's for your safety as well as helping the park, because it allows them to know who's still out here when it closes. And if you're not back by the time they have set, they will send someone out to come look for you. So don't make that happen. Set your plan, stick to it, have your hard stop to turn around. And if you don't get to wherever you're planning to go, no worries, because it's all about the journey. Back to where we started, the Mile High Bridge. Looks like clear skies, so we are going to go hike on that beautiful bridge and show you an awesome, rewarding view for your hike. But the big thing is, no matter where you're hiking or what you're doing, have the adventure that is in your heart. Here at Grandfather Mountain, there's a top shop, there's a museum, there's animals that you can look at, there's trails you can hike on, there's a Mile High Bridge. So whether you decide to go all the way to Calloway or McCree or do the loop with ladders, and Grandfather has a lot of ladders, Underwood only one, or go to the Mile High Bridge and see views from there. One other adventure you can have here is you can see where Forrest Gump ran. So he ran this curve. You can't actually run it because you're not allowed to hike on the road, it'd be too dangerous, but a beautiful place to see. I'm Rachel with Adventurous Heart, and from a mile high in the sky, I hope you enjoy all of the adventures in your heart.